Jamir Watkins has decided to remain in the 2025 NBA draft. The former Florida State player who was extremely productive. I don't think he got enough credit for what he did for a kind of a bad Florida State team, but I don't think it had anything to do with Jamir Watkins. Stands at 6'7", average 18 points a game, almost 6 rebounds, over 2 assists a game, over a steal a game. Started a lot of games for them. Shot 42% from the field, 32% from three. He was all ACC second team last year, and he did enter the transfer portal while also entering the draft. He would have been one of the more sought after players in the transfer portal, but he now chooses to remain in the 2025 NBA draft. A lot of versatility, a lot of intrigue with Jamir Watkins that I think will eventually earn him a spot somewhere on an NBA team. Not sure what his draft status will exactly look like, but like I said, a 6'7" guy who can check, do a little bit of everything, can shoot the ball well enough to be a threat. I think that he'll find a way to maybe have himself a career. But I was a little bit, I guess, a little bit surprised he didn't maybe want to come back and try to get himself a nice little bag at the college level, given kind of where I've seen his mock draft status kind of land. So, yeah, I guess I'll throw it to you first. What do you take from his decision to remain in the NBA draft?
I think everybody's different. I think Jamir Watkins played it well, though. I think he wanted to go to the NBA the whole time, had the ability to get a bag, to come back to college, but he waited it out. I saw some like going into the deadline, there was only 115 players that were still in the NBA draft, and obviously that number is way lower after everybody like returned. Um, Jamir Watkins in the NBA, excuse me, is a product of NIL existing and everybody staying, right? Like if NIL doesn't exist and the people go to the draft to get paid, Jamir Watkins is still in college. So I think he played it well. He kind of let all the dominoes fall. And he's the one left with the prize, I guess you could say, of getting to play in the NBA. And it's just a matter of what you wanted to do, I think. I think there's a lot of guys that could have went the same exact route that Jameer went, and gotten yielded a similar result. But some people wanted the money from the college level, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I think there's a lot of guys that could have taken advantage of everybody dropping out the draft in the same way Jameer did, and he's going to get probably a 4-year deal out of it because of it.
Yeah, I think given his production and experience at the college level, Watkins is one of the guys I would bank on. Even if he doesn't get drafted, he'll be a rostered player. I don't even think he'll be a two-way guy. I think he brings too much versatility, too much size. And look, you look at the latest big board. I believe he was listed as, let me make sure this is correct, the 65th overall prospect. So it's going to make his draft night a little bit dicey, but I have no doubts that Jamir Watkins is going to I think, kind of find himself a role. And even if, this is one of the rare cases where I think it's the right decision for him to go, even if he isn't a projected draft pick, just because he'll be a year older next year. And I just think he'll find himself where he'll have, like what you stated, he's the guy who's going to get a contract, I think.
Right. And we're gonna do a longer form video on this. So I won't go into too much detail. It's very rare people actually improve their draft stock. Like if you're on draft boards, it's very rare you improve it. It's more likely you go back when you weren't on draft boards and you wind up on draft boards after the fact. But it's very rare that somebody's like projected to be a first round pick, makes themselves a lotto pick. Is projected to be a second round pick, makes themselves a first round pick. That stuff normally doesn't happen because it's just like anything in life. There's that new prize that, and then there's that new intrigue, and there's that new prospect you don't know anything about that gets the eye of teams, and that's what they want. Everybody wants something that's new, not the guy we know everything about. So, I mean, Coleman Hawkins, John L. Davis, a lot of the guys that went back last year when they could have been two-way guys. I'm not saying they regret it because they got big bags. They didn't improve their draft stock though, and I think Jamir Watkins would have fell into that camp.
Yeah, I agree. But look, I think Jamir Watkins will have an interesting draft night, seeing where he will end up. But he has made the decision to stay in the NBA draft, and begin his pro career. And I think that's probably the right move for him. But congrats to Jamir Watkins. Be very intrigued to see where he ends up going on draft night and see what his NBA career turns out to be.